Hi, Alecia Daniel-Hall, attorney and realtor here in Pompano Beach, and I am back with a Pompano Beach City Commission meeting recap. This is a recap of the commission meeting from November 9th. It was at 1 p.m. I am going to start attending the afternoon ones. In case you didn't know, they actually do two commission meetings a month. There's usually one that occurs at 1 p.m. And then there's the one that I've been doing the recaps of that occurs at 6 p.m. I am going to start doing both because they do kind of just keep rolling through. So a lot of times when I was doing just the evening ones, it would be the second reading, but we never heard the first reading, and that's because it was done in the afternoon. So I've now added the afternoon ones to my schedule. Yay! So here we go. Like I said, it was November 9th, so I am a few days late, but better late than never. There were two items on the consent agenda, pretty straightforward. They both dealt with RFPs, which are requests for proposal. That's how you bid on projects in a city. And so the first one was a vote to approve the ranking order of RFP, request for proposal, submissions for independent auditing services, and to authorize the staff of Pompano Beach to negotiate and enter into a contract with Keith, McCullough and Company, LLP. And that was the highest bidder. There was a sort of an objection. What happened was a representative of Markham LLP, which is one of the firms that was actually one of the top three bidders for the project, and they attended today because they wanted to ask the commissioners and the vice mayor and the mayor to reassess the points. When you submit in an RFP, the way they make the decision is they actually assign different points for different things that are done. Like did you do this? Did you do this? So you get certain points for doing things. What Markham was saying is that they were actually penalized, and that's something else that happens in the point system. You can either gain points or you can lose points. And so they were penalized for having a subcontractor involved with their submission. And so what the representative of Markham was saying is the reason why they used a subcontractor is because they were actually trying to further the city's commitment to ensure participation of local small businesses and minority businesses within the city when they're dealing with procurement, i.e. working with and bidding out for different services. That is something that the city has expressed an interest in furthering. They want to make sure that they are giving business to as many small businesses as possible. FYI, they do, you get more points if you are a Pompano Beach, if you are a Pompano Beach business, and then it goes by from if you're not in Pompano, then okay, are you in Broward? So the company that did win, Keith McCullough, they are a Broward County company, and so is Markham. Markham is actually located right in Fort Lauderdale on Las Olas. So it was an interesting question about the reassessment. Again, they were trying to comply and help the city in its mission, its stated mission, to further this commitment. But at the same time, because they, had to, in order to do so, they had to bring on a subcontractor. They ended up losing points, and so they wanted to bring to the city's attention that there is this disconnect between the stated commitment and the ultimate effect, which in this case was they were penalized for doing that. So interesting. At the end of the day, the Keith company was the successful bidder. It was approved. I did want to also point out that as far as the points for the top three, there's only a 3-point spread among the top three, and that's like out of 400 points total. So it's not like it was, a significant difference. And by the way, Markham actually lost 3 points for using a subcontractor. So it was very, very close. And as a matter of fact, Markham actually lost 3 points for using a subcontractor. So that's interesting, and I hope the city takes a look at that to see if they are, actually really serious about their alleged or stated commitments. Next was an approval to award a bid, another RFP it's related to Weaver's Community Park, and there was only one company that submitted a bid, and their bid was eligible, and the name of that company was Davco Electrical Contractors. Naturally, since they were the only eligible bidder, they did, in fact, win the award, but let's talk about what they will be doing. We're getting new lights at the Weaver Park. It's going to be 70 50-foot poles that are going to be installed on the exercise pad, and then 15 poles are going to be installed in both the north and south parking lots. Just to make it very clear, the project manager was present and he wanted to reiterate that these are not sports lights. These are for security purposes. Their goal here is to add more security lighting so that we as residents can enjoy our beautiful parks. And the timeline for the project is about 4 months. They are hoping to keep the park open during the installation process. So we'll see. As long as it's safe, they will do so. Okay. And next we're going to deal with the quasi-judicial portion of the day. And we have a second reading of an ordinance, and this was to rezone property lying on the south side of Northwest 6th Court. It's approximately 250 feet east of Northwest 31st Avenue, and the property address is 3050 Northwest 6th Court. And what they're doing is they're switching it from B3, which is general business, to B2, which is community business. The city is actually the applicant for this zoning request. It is a vacant lot that is going to be impacted. And what happened was the adjacent lot was recently zoned as flex residential, and so it doesn't make logical sense to leave this vacant lot with the current zoning, because you don't normally have commercial property adjacent to residential, or in this case, flex residential. So it's about uniformity and, making sure that certain things are kept within certain areas. That's the whole purpose of zoning. So we don't have restaurants next door to houses, right? If it's straight residential. Okay. And so obviously that was approved. Next is an approval to award a water treatment plant to hurricane hardening. This went to the lowest qualified bidder. The name of that bidder is Emerald Construction Corporation. This is actually going to be Emerald's first project with the city, so it's always great to have a new company that is coming into the city and providing services, as opposed to having the same companies over and over and over again. The fiscal impact for this project is going to be about $3.5 million. It's a little under. Okay. And then we have a resolution granting a 3-month extension of zoning in progress. So what this is the time between the first public hearing and the time that text amendments are brought to the commission. And what they're doing is, right now there's a 6-month period, and there is actually a housing resolution that relates to a moratorium regarding concentrating and clustering housing tax credit projects. And what they're trying to do, to just kind of break it down, you can get, as a developer, you can get tax credits if you're going to provide affordable housing. And what they don't want, the city doesn't want, is to end up in a situation where we have an entire neighborhood that is almost like the projects, because it's just all filled with affordable housing. What they want to do is they want to deconcentrate. So basically they want to spread out the affordable housing throughout the city, as opposed to having it all in one area, because then you end up having, for lack of a better term, a hood, and we don't want that. So you kind of spread it out. And so they are just simply trying to extend the period that is allowed for them to make revisions to proposed ordinances, because right now they are they're coming up on the end and they're not done, and they want to make sure that they have enough time to really negotiate and discuss and investigate and research all of the different amendments and revision requests, and also to write them down, right? So they're asking for an additional 3 months to be added to that 6-month period, and it was approved. Then this is the second reading. We talked about it I can't believe how time flies, but we talked about it from the last meeting. And there was an error in the zoning map for 5 lots that are located between Northwest 4th Street and Northwest 2nd Street, east of Northwest 31st Avenue. Again, they realized that there was a discrepancy between the city's map and the county's, and so they have fixed the discrepancy. It's got to match, right? You want the city and the county's map to be the same, to have the same zoning information for the same properties. So they fixed it, and the purpose of this particular ordinance is to basically document the fact that the correction was made, because you need to have that in public records. What you don't want is fast forward 25 years later, a title company is taking a look and reviewing the property, and all of a sudden it changes. Like, you don't know why. So what they're doing is they're actually putting it in the record. The property designations changed, and this is why. And then item number 18 is a second reading, and it's nothing really major, adopting a property rights element in the city's comprehensive plan that was approved. Number 19, we are correcting errors on the future land use map by modifying the map to reflect the proper land use designation for certain lots located east of and along Northwest 31st Avenue. This is a companion to the one I just spoke of, which was item number 17, where again, they're fixing what was on the map because there was an error that they caught and now it's fixed. And so there's that. Number 20, we have approved a parking license agreement with GNC Platinum 50 Investors LLC. And this is for the use of the surface parking lot that's next to the medical building located at 50 Northeast 26th Avenue. Item number 21, it's an agreement with Gentech. This is a second reading. We talked about this at the last meeting. This deals with the plate reader cameras that we have with BSO. They're accessed by BSO here in Pompano Beach, and the company that basically manages and maintains those cameras is called Gentech. And what we're doing now is signing an agreement with Gentech so that we don't have to call and get approval. So BSO doesn't have to call Pompano Beach every time a camera goes out to get approval to call Gentech. Now they'll be able to call Gentech as many times as needed throughout the month, throughout the year, whatever. We're not going to pay any more. We're not going to pay any less. This is how much it costs, flat number, and it includes all service calls. And so it kind of really speeds up the process of fixing issues with these cameras. Again, if the camera has to be replaced, we, the city, will have to pay to replace it. This is really just for maintenance and just making it more effective as far as maintaining the cameras that we've put a lot of money into. That was approved. And item number 22, it's a first reading. And this is an ordinance to execute a labor agreement between the Federation of Public Employees and the City of Pompano Beach. This is for the contract period that's going to be starting, it's going backwards. It's October 1st through and ending September 30th of 2024. FYI, this is our collective bargaining agreement with the union. And this is between the union and the city for employees, okay? And they're making some changes. We only do these every 3 years, and so there's a lot of changes that have to happen when they do the renegotiations. And one of the things they're doing is there's going to be a cost of living adjustment. Obviously, cost of living has changed a bit. And there's also, we are now adding June 13th as a holiday to the calendar. And that is commensurate with the fact that June 13th is now a national/federal holiday. And so now the City of Pompano Beach and their employees will also be benefiting from that national holiday. So they'll get a paid day off. And the agreement is going to actually apply retroactively because I pointed out that the contract is actually going to go from October 1st through September 30th in 2024. And so as a result, they went ahead, the 9th was the first reading, and they went ahead and they actually did an emergency second reading. And the reason is because they have to do all the administrative stuff in order to make sure that they implement the changes like yesterday, right? So they did do the second reading. It has been approved, so that's taken care of. A little bit more on the collective bargaining agreement. We have the amended section 34.020, which is defined as the normal retirement benefit section. And what they're doing is they are implementing recent changes to modify the general employees retirement system. They've changed the multiplier to 3%, and the purpose is to update the code in accordance with the collective bargaining agreement. So sometimes they negotiate new terms, and in order to have that work, you have to actually update the ordinance so that they match because, again, it's got to be compliant with each other. You can't have inconsistencies because then you have litigation. Well, you have litigation anyway, but on item number 24, first reading, amending section 34.038. This is the pension adjustments provision, And what they're doing here is, like I mentioned before, they're increasing the cost of living adjustment to implement recent changes. So again, first you have to agree and approve the collective bargaining agreement, and then you have to update your ordinances so the terms of the ordinance match up with the CBA. And so this is, I mentioned that they had to change the cost of living payment because obviously cost of living has gone up a tad. Item number 25 is amending Chapter 34, City Policy. That's what it's titled, of the Pompano Beach Code. And this again relates to the general employees retirement system. And what they've done is amended Section 34.04, conditions of eligibility, by modifying provisions for past service pension credit and allowing for the purchase of additional service credit. So the employee, if they want at their own expense, they can actually buy additional service credit. And yeah, that they have to elect it. And the individual employee that wants to elect it would have to be one of the ones footing the bill for that purchase of credits. And then we have the item number 26. This is actually the last item, and it's a second reading. And what they did, they amended Chapter 34, titled City Policy. And it's specifically Section 34.107, titled Position Classification Plan. And what they've done is reclassified certain positions by creating a position and by increasing the incentive pay for lifeguards certified as EMTs. And all of those were approved. I do want to also, Commissioner, I think it was Commissioner McGee, just kind of wanted, she likes to, I noticed something about her. She likes to point out some of the things that we have in Pompano Beach that people aren't necessarily aware of, or maybe just to remind you that it's there. And I kind of like that. So she was reminding us about the Hillsborough Lighthouse Museum. I've never been inside that museum. I've been to it, just the outside area. But it was just a reminder, they are open again, and the address is 2639 North Riverside Drive, and they are open from Monday to Sunday, and their hours are 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. The hours that Commissioner McGee provided during the meeting are actually different from the hours on the website. So her hours are probably more accurate than the website because she has actually, been in communication with them. But I would just pick up the phone, give them a call before you head over there just to make sure there haven't been any changes. And our next meeting is going to be December 14th at 1 p.m. Remember, last time we had a meeting, they canceled the meeting that's going to be at the end of November, and they canceled it because of Thanksgiving. They also canceled the one that's at the end of December because of the holidays. So that is your recap of the November 9th, 2021 Pompano Beach Commission meeting. There was some discussion at the very beginning of the meeting about the quagmire that is Atlantic and Dixie. No real change. They didn't have anyone from the city come and tell us about the status because it was only 2 weeks ago that we heard the status before. And they've told us it would be at least a month before there were any updates. And so they didn't come with any updates. It was mostly city residents talking about the overall impact of whatever it is they're doing. So there's that. I will be back for the December 14th. It's right after my birthday, but I will be here and I will be providing you guys with an update. And as always, my name is Alecia Daniel-Hall. I'm the owner of Genesis Law PA. My practice areas are estate planning and probate. So if you know of anyone who has recently lost a loved one and is in need of assistance with their probate matter, or if you know someone or you yourself are interested in estate planning services, which includes things such as wills, trusts, powers of attorneys, and living wills, please feel free to think of me, Alecia Daniel-Hall, and I'm also a realtor. So I am located in the Highland section of Pompano Beach. If you know anyone who is interested in buying or selling real estate here in Pompano Beach, please give me a call, 786-315-9638. And of course, I will have all of my contact information right below. Thanks. Bye.